Yeah, this is the challenge. A loved one falls ill, a loved one dies, a loved one leaves us, our house burns down. Things, tragic things happen. And of course, I'm not equating a house with a loved one, but just these are the things that happen in our lives. And they challenge us. It's very easy to believe in a beautiful, wonderful God when God is, showering me with lots of love and blessings and prosperity and health and all things good. It's a lot harder when not. And what I would say is two things. First of all, remember that the universe has no preferences. We have preferences, so we put subjective labels on things. We say wealth is good, poverty is bad. Health is good, sickness is bad. Success is good, failure is bad. But the universe doesn't have any such labels. And so to recognize, first of all, that this it's not a punishment, it's not about being forsaken by God. In the same way that trees lose their leaves every year, there's a process in nature, a cycle in nature. And so that's very, very important, is that this is it's not something that God or the universe has done to you or to the loved one, and that you need to look back and figure out what bad karma did we do to get this punishment. We've really put this concept of an authoritarian figure on the law of karma. We've brought in this concept of rewards and punishments, good and bad. It's almost like Santa Claus's lists of, Santa knows you've been good or you've been bad, and you're going to either get a lot of toys or no toys based on which you've been. But that's not how karma works. It's not about rewards and punishments. It's about seeds blossoming and growing into the tree of whatever was planted. And again, it's not badness growing into bad trees. That which we get, we're getting because that's what the most conducive situation is for us to take our next step closer to our awakening, for us to peel back layers. And in some cases, failure, sickness, poverty are things that are catalysts to peeling back layers, to awakening, to blossoming, to taking our next step. And so it's important to recognize it as that, and not to have a guilt complex of, I must have done something, he or she must have done something, and that's why this is happening. You're not being punished. They're not being punished. But this is what's before you. So somewhere there was a seed for this. And so the question is, okay, now that this tree is in our living room, how do we learn whatever lesson we need to learn from this? It's here for a reason. How do we use this experience to peel back whatever layers in us need to be peeled back? And have faith in the universe, in a wisdom in the universe. And also to have faith really in the possibility of healing. And I say this not because if you're good, you'll get healed or they'll get healed. It's so hard our brains just do that. If I pray the right way, if I, chant the right mantras, or I give money in the right temple, I'm going to get a good blessing. And then we put these labels of it. But to just really remember that there is space for healing. And in some cases, that healing may come through the body being healed in miraculous ways, which I know I've seen many, many, many times, long beyond having any doubt of its possibility. Miraculous healings of the body. And I've also seen miraculous healings of the spirit as the body leaves us. And we don't necessarily know which way it's going to go. But all we can do is have faith, stay grounded, stay connected, hold on to the awareness of the presence of healing, knowing that the universe that makes seeds sprout and blossom and flower and give fruit knows exactly what to do. That the universe that provides everything for us knows exactly what to do. Hold the vision. Hold that presence without a sense of guilt or punishment. Knowing that this is in your life again for a reason. And how can you use it? Your loved one will use it in a different way, but how can you use it to get closer to God? How can you connect with the spirit of the loved one? We're so used to connecting body to body. I know you're here because I can see in your eyes. I know you're here because I can hold your hand. How can we connect spirit to spirit? Well, in order to connect to that person's spirit, I can only do it from my spirit. You can't connect body to spirit. I have to connect from my spirit to yours. And that's the great opportunity. And you know, when loved ones pass away, that's the challenge we always have. And that comes up so frequently, is what to do when the loved one has passed away. And of course, the teaching is the same. Connect spirit to spirit. That spirit is still there. But you're in a different situation. The loved one is still in the body. Well, at some point, they're going to pass away. Whether from this illness or 40 years from now or 80 years from now, depending on how old they may be. Or you'll pass away first. One of you is going to pass away first. It's a guarantee. So you might as well start practicing this now. Because it's a lot easier to connect to the spirit actually while you still have the person in physical form. We use the physical body to get into the spirit. I can look in your eyes and feel your spirit. So as long as you still have that, use it. And if you're blessed with a healing in the physical body, well, then you've got all that many more years to live as spirit to spirit in body. And if the soul leaves the physical body, well, you'll mourn the passing of the physical body, but you'll still have that deep connection of the soul and the spirit. Is stillness the same as presence? Not exactly. They're very close and they're both crucial, but they're not exactly the same. I think I would say, and don't quote me semantically. I mean, this is not the origin of the word or the dictionary definition of the word, but from a felt sense, I would say stillness is the how and the where, and presence is the what. So if we're talking about experiencing divinity, if we're talking about experiencing the presence of God in our lives, inside ourselves, in others, if we're talking about experiencing the truth, the oneness, whatever words we may use for that highest goal that we're all moving toward with the layers that we're pulling back, I would say we become still you can't experience presence if you're not still. We know that. We know that when we're moving around, and this moving, of course, by the way, is all in the mind. It's not the body. The body could absolutely be moving. The body could be jogging in place. The body could be grocery shopping or driving or doing any one of 100 other things. It's not the body, it's the mind. And if you ever doubt that, sit down to meditate. And what you know is that that which keeps you from being fully present continuously. It's clearly not the body. The body's in one place. It's not the senses. Your eyes are closed. Presumably you've chosen a relatively quiet place, or you've got, some chanting going on, or earplugs in, or whatever it may be. But what keeps us from experiencing the present, as well as the capital P presence, is the movement of our own minds. And so the very first thing, we need stillness. So that's the how. But stillness is also, interestingly, I have found on a personal level, again, this isn't a dictionary semantic definition, but I've experienced stillness not just as a how, I've experienced it as a where. Meaning, when I experienced silence for the first time, real silence, not just silence of the senses, not just a lack of sound outside, but a real inner silence, it felt to me like I had reached not just a state, but a place of silence. That there actually was an experience of a place into which I had come. Now, of course, the place was in my mind, the way that the noise is in my mind. But I would say stillness is how and where we experience, or we open ourselves up to the possibility of experiencing that presence, the capital P presence of the divine, of oneness, of truth. It also, if you say just the lowercase p presence, so as in just the present moment, well, I still have to be still. Because when my mind is moving, it's either in the past or the future. That's what the mind does. That's where the mind goes. It goes to the past, anywhere ranging from 60 years to 5 minutes ago. Oh my God, I shouldn't have eaten that. Or, oh my God, my mother, my father, so we do the whole spectrum, but it's the past or it's the future. Again, 3 minutes from now, when am I going to get dinner? Or decades from now, what's going to happen to me when? Will I ever? That's what the mind does. And so in order to experience the present also, which all of our spiritual traditions, this is not just the Indian, Hindu, Vedic spiritual tradition, but all of the spiritual traditions, all of the mystical or meditative traditions I know of, emphasize being in the present. They may use different words, they may describe it in a different way, but they all talk about the be here now-ness and the importance of that. So, yes, so we need stillness. This is why we meditate. It's why we focus on our breath. It's why we chant mantras. It's why we do yogasanas. It's why we do seva. It's why we do so many of our spiritual practices, that while our bodies may be in motion, the mind is able to be still. And into that stillness, again, of mind, not body, comes the presence. And again, whether we say grace or the universe or God or oneness or truth, it doesn't matter. Consciousness, whatever. But that's the what that we experience in stillness.